and thank you for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. We are coming to you from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bablet Jonathan. Tonight, we are zooming in on what is today qualified as the deadly roads running across the Republic of Cameroon, with blood spilling on those roads at very close intervals of time in different accidents in different towns, and the roads are now referred to as death traps for Cameroonians, with accusing fingers pointing to the bad state of the road and reckless driving and the poor state of vehicles, and of course above all to the government for failing, according to several observers, to protect citizens from such accidents by constructing good roads across the country. And also in this newscast, we are looking at the call of the Minister of Forestry and Wildlife, Yaounde, on local authorities to enhance the protection of protected wildlife species. He was speaking in Limbe in the southwest region of the country. Those were our top stories. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us at this news hour. The accident that killed 5 persons in Sanu in the west region of Cameroon has been blamed on technical fault on the 70-seater public transport bus of Trésor Voyage Interurban Transport Company. The vehicle suffered brake failure while descending a hill in Tenge village in that part of the country, and Smanjikan Gibre files in greater details.
Another black day along this stretch of road linking Chang to Melon. Late Monday afternoon, a 70-seater bus was involved in an accident precisely at the plantain market in Tenge of Sancho subdivision. The bus that was from Douala heading to Bafoussam witnessed a technical fault, with the driver unable to control the vehicle. The vehicle will later fall off due to the slippery nature of the road after colliding with an electricity pole.
C'est lui le seul dedans. C'est lui le seul qui a encore la voiture couchée sur là. Les autres sont, tout le monde est sorti, mais il y a une petite fille dehors là qui a décédé, une petite fille de 3 ans.
At the time of this report, 4 persons had died, all children, and about 50 others injured and hospitalized. This accident comes several days after the one which occurred at the Chang Cliff that saw the demise of 6 passengers.
And a trainer of drivers highlights the responsibility of drivers in these road accidents occurring on highways across the country. He says that many of the drivers are not trained, and they make too many errors on the roads that cause some of those accidents. Take a listen to Ekambo Mukango in this extract.
The first problem for accident on this Cameroon is driver. Because before I move my motor, I have to check the engine very well. I have to check the motor very well. If the motor don't have this, if the motor don't have that, if the motor don't have this, you count about 6, you count about 4, you count about 5, you count about 3. Who caused all that? You know car, you know roads. It's driver. Okay. The driver starting to take care.
A trainer of drivers, Ekambo Mukongo, highlighting the responsibility of drivers, notably making reference to reckless driving causing many of the accidents occurring on highways across the country. And a Roman Catholic priest of the St. Fidelis parish in Bafoussam in the west region of the country decries the unprofessional conduct of road users. Reverend Father Kahake Philip accuses some road safety agents of extortion carried out on the roads instead of working to limit accidents and deaths on the national roads. The Reverend Father says the road safety agents are rather concentrating on extorting money from drivers, and he has declared that this has to be corrected as part of the solutions to the problem. Innocent has a report.
While addressing Christians of the St. Fidelis parish, Bafusam, who were mourning a young man, Tenny Pierre David, who died in a road accident, Reverend Father Kahake Philip decried carelessness of drivers on the highway as well as reckless driving, which cost the lives of Cameroonians on a daily basis. If everyone respects highway codes, families will not be mourning all the time. Unfortunately, it is a country where people do what they like, anyhow and anytime. The priest also denounces the unprofessional practices of some road safety agents on Cameroon's national roads. I denounce them right here. Instead of working to prevent accidents, they intervene in accidents. It is all about road safety and not about repression and extortion from road users. You find them everywhere with barricades, compelling drivers to pay illegal taxes, which are at times exorbitant.
Appelez-les répression routière et non pas prévention routière. Vous passez partout, chacun met le bambou. C'est quoi dans la taxe?
Reverend Father Kahake Philip ordered youth to adopt good morals and be responsible while on the highway.
Et vous les jeunes?
Youth, I am sure you are listening. You drive recklessly and on high speed. That is not life. If your parents were driving like you today, you wouldn't have been born or alive today. Youth, slow down. You only rush into the grave.
Vous ne serez pas né, vous ne serez pas vivant. Parce qu'il n'y aurait personne pour vous élever.
With all the recurrent bloody accidents, corruption practices, homosexuality, lesbianism, and other deviant practices reigning in the Republic of Cameroon, the priest thinks only the youth can change the game.
Les jeunes, c'est vous qu'on attend pour changer ce pays.
Youth, you are the ones awaited to change this country. Say no to certain practices and societal ills. Say no to narcotics, occultic practices, homosexuality, and lesbianism. Everyone counts on you to bring change in this country because you are still energetic. You are physically and spiritually strong and intelligent.
Ressaisissez-vous. Toi jeune, réveille-toi. Fais un effort. Tu peux changer. Le changement n'est pas une mauvaise chose. Est-ce que tu t'es fait inscrire sur la liste électorale? Toi jeune. Est-ce que tu rêves à un changement?
The Reverend also implores road safety agents to be God-fearing and to do their jobs correctly so as to save Cameroonians from repeated road accidents in the Republic of Cameroon.
Young persons urged to rise up, to get up from slumber and fight for change in Cameroon. In the nation's political capital, Yaounde, several roads are in a dilapidated state. A case in point in this newscast is the stretch of road from Colbison to the Yaounde 7th Divisional Office, and ACA Lucy Liengu presents the bad state of that road in the following report.
The stretch of road from the Colbison roundabout to the Yaounde 7 DO's office, which is approximately 3 kilometers, is a nightmare for road users. It's difficult for us each day. Most of the times, those who come to certify their documents fall into the mud. One can't dress smart on these roads. It's really challenging. The inhabitants, mostly road users, say they find it challenging to access the road during the rainy season when the road becomes very slippery. When it rains, we find it difficult to access the road for a week. It's practically impossible, and even if we are obliged to, we have to spend at least 3,000 francs to 4,000 francs Also, it is complicated for road pedestrians who, despite wearing rain boots, can't go through the road, but they are obliged to walk barefoot. It's not based on food. We always have to go through the shortcuts. According to the officials of the Yaounde 7 Council, the maintenance works on the stretch has been suspended due to bad weather and will resume afterwards. Christian Bekolo, the head of the technical department, Yaounde 7 Council, says the execution rate of the maintenance work stands at 50% and 50% funding. Meantime, the first assistant mayor at the Yaounde 7 Council urged the population to be patient, promising the completion of works by the end of August.
Inhabitants of Lihok village in Ezeka subdivision in the Yaounde division center region of Cameroon are raising concerns, complaining about the bad state of their roads in that part of the country, a situation that is making it very difficult for them to move from one part of the village to the other and even out of that municipality. Details with Cedric Chakutio.
The bad state of roads is one of the many challenges faced by inhabitants of Lumok village, Ezeka subdivision of the Nyong-Ekele division, center region of Cameroon. Because of this situation, inhabitants find it difficult to move in and out of the community. Added to this is the bridge that collapsed since 2020.
I used to come and buy it in this place, but we have difficulties for transport things because there is many things here. When we come like this, we buy oil, plantains, cocoyam, and cassava. For transport, it is not easy for us because there is no road. The road is bad, very bad.
It's been 5 years now that this bridge collapsed. Till now, we don't see any evolution on the reconstruction. According to local authorities, the bridge that links Lumok Lihok and Timekele village was to be reconstructed since 2023. But to their greatest surprise, inhabitants are only seeing construction materials, equipment, but no worker around. They were to put placards indicating that on this site there is work. But till now, we don't know which enterprise is to start the working. We don't know who are the workers supposed to work.
Lorsqu'on regarde ces matériaux, depuis près de 3 ans qu'on les a déposés, on ne fait que désherber sans les utiliser.
When we see these equipment left here since, when we see the job that was to begin in November 23, this is my shop. I gave it to them so that they can stock their material, but till now, no one is coming. Here are cement bags that are already had. Seriously, who do they think we are? The hopeless population continue asking for help from the government.
The Minister of Forestry and Wildlife has urged local authorities to continue sensitizing the population in different parts of the country on the importance of safeguarding protected wildlife species. Gilles Dorendongo was speaking in Limbe in the southwest region of the country, as Manjikan Gebre reports.
Protection of species by those in the village setup and the respect of the zones demarcated by the government were under review during the steering committee meeting of the Program of Sustainable Development of Natural Resources in Limbe.
In terms of funding, our partners, the Federal Republic of Germany, has disbursed 52 million euros, which is a very huge amount of money. In terms of efficiency, it's a program which is really has a strong impact on our local communities, since it's helped to improve the living conditions of the population. So we help people, we open roads, build some schools, and make water available, and so many other social amenities.
The meeting that was chaired by the Minister of Forestry and Wildlife Protection brought together representatives of different councils who had protected natural resources around the zones.
It is going to help me to understand the importance and the necessity for our forest and our parks to be protected. You know, there are many demarcated areas in our area, particularly in Bangim subdivision, where the forests have been demarcated, that the population should not move into that particular demarcated area. If a forest is protected, in future, by the time the state is leaving the place, it becomes more mature, more important, more lucrative for the common man to go now and benefit more.
The program of sustainable management of natural resources is a very important component which has been existing in the Ministry of Forestry and Wildlife Protection for the past 18 years.
Now in news out of Cameroon, the death toll of the recent bomb blast in the northeastern Nigerian state of Borno has increased to at least 32, and the bomb blast occurred last Saturday in the Cameroon border, in the Nigeria-Cameroon border locality of Goza. At least 6 persons were killed in a wedding ceremony, and the suicide bombers, who are thought to be female suicide bombers, actually targeted the wedding ceremony and the burial of the victims who were killed in that in those attacks. And the death toll has now increased to at least 32. While in Kenya, the demonstrations against the President William Ruto's government have continued despite the finance bill being dropped. Kenyan police have used tear gas to disperse protesters in the country's capital, Nairobi, and in both cities in Mombasa and Nairobi centers, many businesses have remained closed, and demonstrators have also taken to the streets of their cities, including Kisumu. Human rights groups saying since the protesters took to the streets, the situation has remained unstable. And South African president is now looking at how the country is going to move forward with the unity government that he formed on Sunday. The unity government that is a historic development in the country's democracy after the African National Congress, the ANC, lost its majority in parliament after 30 years. And that's it for the first part of the news. Talking Points is up next. Our guest today is Barrister Achu Julius. He's a member of the Cameroon Bar Association. We are looking at the issue of accidents, recurrent accidents on highways, in cities, in towns and villages of the Republic of Cameroon. And as a legal mind, the first question we want to ask you, Barrister, is what does the law say about accidents in Cameroon?
The article that sanctions accidents considers accidents as something not involuntary, that was never intentional. You didn't plan to do it. It just happened. It happened. But at the end of it, is it true that it's not intentional when you look at the facts and the circumstances? For example, if somebody drinks and drives, one thing is certain, that his vision must have been impaired. And he knew very well that they say, if you drive, don't drink. And if you drive, don't drink. Well, if you drink, don't drive. They know that. But then we say they don't respect it. We have a highway code that states that you don't overtake in a third position when there's an oncoming car. But people say attempt to do that. But at the end of the day, call it just an accident, which was involuntary. That mitigates the extent on which you can punish such a person because of an accident that might kill people. Ordinarily, as I said before, if you respect the highway code, respect the state of the road, and respect the fact that the other users are on that road, you will never have an accident. So what it boils down to one thing: civic training. The society needs a lot of civic training to respect each other, to understand their duties and obligations as a human being, or as a rider or a driver.
The bad state of the roads running across Cameroon from north to south, east to west, and accusing fingers are pointing to the government for failing in its responsibilities to provide good roads to Cameroonians and to protect the Cameroonians who are traveling on those roads. One of the major causes of the accidents is the poor technical state of vehicles plying the country's roads. Now, paradoxically, some of those vehicles have a roadworthy certificate showing that they are in good state, or better still, they are good to go. They are good to hit the roads. What is your understanding of this situation?
You know, people like to do a blame game on others. Meanwhile, everybody seems to be making a mess of whatever is given to them to control and to manage. How on earth should they give a roadworthiness certificate to a car which is not roadworthy, and you expect that there will be an accident? How on earth? Why should that happen? So if those guys giving a roadworthy certificates have some responsibilities, because it was easy to give license to everybody to do a roadworthy control. But what is the sanction when they give certificates on vehicles which are not roadworthy? What is the sanction? You see, there's really no sanction in any case. But again, why do we still allow cars that have been running the roads for more than 10 years to ply roads in Cameroon? Why? A car is like anything has a lifespan. You can't tell me that a car will be used in Europe for 10 years, you can still use it freely or normally in Cameroon. Why do we allow it? Why do we first of all go and buy such cars and bring to sell locally? Is it not high time we should think of organizing our markets so that everybody can afford to buy a new car? Because I know in most of developed countries, when once you have a salary, there's part of it that goes to pay a car. You can take a car and be paid at an amount which you don't feel the impact. So you permit to have a brand new car and you're sure of its safety, roadworthiness and safety. Why can't we do such a thing in this country?
Let me just open a bracket here to talk about a project in relation to what you just said now. Some years back, there was a lot of talking about a car assembly plant that was to be established in the Northwest Regional Capital, Bamenda, but the project died a natural death. What more do we know about this project?
You talk about that issue, Bamenda. I was part of it. We went to China just to negotiate that. And when we arrived there, the group in which we were, there was a split. One group said we should go ahead with the prices which are being offered. Another group said no. If we go ahead with these prices, they will not be competitive. We will not be competitive in the market. Because one group went there and instead of dealing with the manufacturers directly, they went through middlemen. And once you buy something abroad from middleman, there's another price that you added on the factory price. So they had that confusion amongst them, and the group split. Okay, the guys that decided to continue with the project brought it back to Cameroon. They'll go ahead, and decided to go open the assembly plant in Bamenda. What does that mean? You go and buy the trucks or whatever, the vehicles at extraordinary prices. Exorbitant price in China. You transport to Douala. You pay custom duty. You remove a gate from the ports. Then you transport it to Bamenda again to the assembly plant to assemble it and put it in the market for sales. Maybe bring it back to Douala for sales. At the end of the day, the price was not going to be competitive. So it would appear the guys tried, and when they saw the cost, they backed out. And they're not talking about it again. I know they went to Bamenda with a lot of pomp and talked about it. I wish some of us were giving our own honest opinion about what was going on. we were insulted that we don't like Bamenda. They gave all time, so we kept quiet. Because business is not just talking. There's a lot of involved to organize a certain business. And that's why it couldn't work in Bamenda. That guy is doing assembly plants now here in Douala, which is better because you don't need to transport the spare part to go to a factory 400 kilometers away. This guy doing at the port here. The guy is doing well. They're people buying buses, assembling buses. And it's working. If it's working, it means that what way to China negotiate could work.
Barrister, why did government allow the project to die?
The government couldn't do anything because government cannot manage such a thing. A businessman should come out to manage it. But even the businessman, you get your premises all wrong. Everything will be wrong. The government was ready to give the government was ready to give tax exoneration for that plant. But at the end of the day, taking to Bamenda was a mistake. It would appear the city council gave land even for that project. It was a big mistake because it couldn't work. The figures couldn't iron out. You bring that type of bus here in Cameroon, you will not sell it because others will bring brand new buses equally and sell at lower prices than yours, assembled locally. That would not make sense. So you see, you don't force the government to get into something that you yourself, you are seeing your weaknesses and your failures from the very beginning. That's what happened to that project.
Back to the roads. What is your take on the sanctions from the Ministry of Transport, suspension of agencies? The latest case is that of Ariel Voyage, which was suspended for a period of 30 days. Real Voyage was suspended for 30 days. Withdrawal of drivers' licenses, drivers who are found guilty of having committed errors on the highway, like the case of the driver of the truck that was involved in the accident in Ebebda that led to the death of former Indomitable Lion Landry in Gemo. But these measures seem not to be producing or yielding the desired fruits in terms of reducing the rate of accidents on our highways. What's your take on that?
A sanction can never be an adequate response to an issue. But prevention, the ministry should invest in prevention. If I'm Minister of Transport, the first thing to do to ride a bike, you must go for civic training in a military camp. You get the army to train you to understand civic responsibilities. If you don't have that document from the army camp, you will not ride a bike in the country. Because in South Africa, I realized that you have bike riders in suits and ties. In certain places, they tell them, if you don't wear a tie, you will not ride a bike. Because it is believed that if you are well dressed in a suit and a tie, you will not be rough on your riding. Because bike riders, at one point in time, it's a touristic attraction. So if you transform their mentality, send them civic training, then ask them to dress well, as if they're going for work. In the areas that you go to South Africa, you would like to ride a bike. From the cleanliness of the driver, from the cleanliness of the bike, and the politeness of the rider. So we should embark more on prevention than cure. Because sanction is like a cure. It cannot be effective because if you sanction me, okay, fine. Another person will do the same thing the next day. If the mentality has not been changed. That's why we'll go for that. While in the military camp, they will teach you highway code. They will teach you so many things how to behave in public.
That was Barrister Achu Julius, member of the Cameroon Bar Association. Barrister, thank you so much for your time. And that's it for today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for your time. In less than half an hour, Sejalin Oto will be here with you and his guest with Equinoxe Soir. Stay with us if you can. Goodbye.